Willie Sandry, the Thoughtful Upholsterer, and the topic today is speed reducers. So if you've got an industrial sewing machine that's just too fast for you, or you'd like to have a little extra punching power, here are some things to consider when you're installing a speed reducer. While the CSM 550-1 does sew much more slowly than a clutch motor, I wouldn't say you get stitch-by-stitch control. For that, you might want to add a smaller motor pulley like this 45mm version, one of my favorite upgrades for that servo motor, or add a dedicated speed reducer. The ratio of the large pulley to the size of the small pulley determines how much this will slow your machine down and also how much it will multiply your torque. This is approximately a 3-to-1 reducer, and we typically see them in this size or even a 4-to-1. So with a common 6-inch reducer, you can expect your machine to run approximately at 1/3 of the speed with 3 times the torque. Now when you're installing a speed reducer, instead of trying to align the motor pulley with that slot in the table, you'll actually use the small pulley on the speed reducer. That's what needs to be centered with the slot in the table. As far as the large pulley on the speed reducer, it just needs to align with the pulley on the motor. Once those are coplanar, you can go ahead and mount things up. It's also helpful to position not only the motor but the speed reducer to the middle of its adjustment range. Usually the axis of the speed reducer needs to fall behind that of the hand wheel on the machine to let that machine tip back normally. You'll need to be aware of any clearance issues between the speed reducer and the metal leg set. Also make sure that you don't cover up that hole to remount your thread stand. And sometimes striking a mark that aligns with the slot in your table is a good reference. Depending on your particular table, you may actually have to extend this slot a bit just to accommodate the speed reducer belt. So in the end, if you need that stitch-by-stitch control or a little more power, you've got a couple great options. You could add a speed reducer, or you could just go with a higher wattage digital servo.